can you possibly conceive of a more ungodly alliance in filmmaking than Russell T. Davies and Alex Kurtzman? The two got together at San Diego Comic-Con with some random black lady wearing a mask, for the full diversity trifecta. The diversity hire, the Jew, and the gay walk into a bar. Oh my gosh. These things write themselves, my friends. I'll be here all week. And it was a cluster of a panel, of course. They labeled it some like international fandom friend day or something like that. And it was insane and stupid. Now, the two of these men have been flirting with this idea of a Star Trek Doctor Who crossover for quite a bit. You can tell they're trying to gear up towards promoting that. I actually think we'll probably see something like that happening, whether it be in the Lower Decks show, in Strange New Worlds, or in the new Doctor Who season. I don't know. But this is something that they're trying to push these crossover modern audiences fandoms into, and I think it's partially a desperation play, as both of their series are just hitting new lows for ratings because they're not providing the action-adventure storytelling that the fans want, and they're trying to push the diversity hire crap over and over and over again. Now, what came out of this was one of the most silly, disappointing things ever, which we covered already. We'll go into it, but I guess there's a movement to try to force this to happen, which I'm guessing is actually going to come from Russell T. Davies and Bad Wolf itself. Very interesting stuff. We'll get into this in just a moment. My name's John Delarose, everybody. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Doctor Who and Star Trek are passions of mine, and I'm glad you're here in the community. Pushing back against just the atrociousness these two men have caused to some of our favorite franchises in the last several years. I'm a science fiction and comic writer myself, and if you like good action-adventure science fiction, please check out The Hidden Emperor. We just hit our $22,000 stretch goal where everybody gets an extra trading card from our variant cover artist. Awesome stuff. And we're pushing towards $25,000 where we are joined by Battletech legend Blaine Pardo, who is writing a short story for it once we hit that level. And there's more to come. More guest writers, just awesome stuff. I'm building a beautiful franchise here. You'll absolutely love it. Grab it in the description below. Get the complete Ayla Rin story collection to start your journey here. And join our wonderful Imperium. Thanks, guys. Yes, again, as that's in the description below for you to check out and back. Now we're getting close to 300 backers, too. Sweet. All right, so the crossover idea. This has been percolating for a little bit, and it started because of rumors of the panel itself. Now, what happened at the panel? We covered this too. Russell T. Davies went out there, and they talked about what fan reaction was to Doctor Who, and he just flipped out about trans rights and how he's more interested in talking about trans rights than he is talking about Doctor Who. Very weird. And Alex Kurtzman gave him his little pat on the butt for this and said, "You're already doing what you can with representation in the show. Please clap." Yes, it was quite cringy. Now, from this, they did announce a crossover of Doctor Who, and it was a complete dud. Nobody wanted this. Nobody cared about this. It's going to be a mobile game, Lower Decks thing, and you could see David Tennant and River Song, K9, and one of the Daleks into the Lower Decks style of crappy art. And it's like, oh no. This is something that's just silly. I can't imagine anybody's interested in this for real. Just a big throwaway of a crossover sort of deal. Now, as far as the history of Doctor Who crossovers go and why this has started to just pick up steam in the most recent years, there's already been one. This one was done by IDW Publishing, about 10 years ago, and it starred Matt Smith meeting up with the Next Generation crew in 2 volumes of graphic novels. These were wonderful, and there's a beautiful hardcover edition of this. Unfortunately, it's extremely out of print. You can look at this paperback version of this volume 2 right here, and you can see very highly desired deal. Why? Because the guys who wrote this, David and Scott Tipton, are true fans. Those guys understand the lore of Star Trek more than I've ever seen. They did great honor to Matt Smith, Amy Pond, and Rory in this whole situation, the setup. It felt natural. It felt like a really good story, and that's what the fans are clamoring for. They just won't refuse to give it to us, right? It's just all about the diversity now. So these guys crushed it. This is like a blueprint of how to do this, but of course, that's not what they're going to be following if this does go through. Now, Russell T Davies amped up this discussion because he actually put references to Star Trek in the new season of Doctor Who. They actually talked about it. Ruby Sunday actually mentioned it in the show, Star Trek, that is, as a show that exists, right? And so that created a Collider interview where they asked Russell T Davies about that as the first question. It's a brand new Doctor Who show. Collider's asking about Star Trek. And I started thinking at that point, I know this stuff's planned by the media. None of this stuff's organic, right? And so very clearly, Russell T Davies is trying to get this crossover idea going. And he starts rambling and bumbling in that Russell T Davies way. He goes, I love Star Trek. Oh, the guy who plays Captain Pike, he's a snack, and I'd love to get in his bum. There's my Russell T Davies impression for you. I keep getting asked to do that more in videos, so I hope you enjoyed. But it did sound a lot like that. I mean, he made these really weird sexual comments about the guy who plays Captain Pike in Strange New Worlds. And I when I watched it, I was like, wow, if this was a showrunner talking about a female actress like this, he would be canceled and never work again. There'd be the whole Me Too thing going at him. It'd be over. But because this guy's a homosexual, like, he gets to make nasty comments about something. I mean, it's just very, very weird. And that's the double standard that the woke get, right? And it's disturbing listening to him talk like that as well. I mean, about these disgusting things. And then he mentioned that, he started just hyping up Kurtzman's Star Trek, right? He started hyping up Discovery, saying he really became a fan of the show because of Discovery. He really loves Strange New Worlds. It's the best. Very odd, to say the least. So clearly he wanted to go this direction. Clearly he wants to push for a crossover. Now, what's happening today is the Radio Times, the fake news shill media, is now saying Doctor Who boss urges fans to keep campaigning for Star Trek crossover episodes. You can see this is Russell T Davies' brainchild right here. He seeded this in Collider. He seeded it in the show. He did this Comic-Con thing. This is all an intentional move because what I really think is that both these dwindling audiences are happening. He probably talked to Kurtzman and said, look, my my ratings are terrible. Your ratings are terrible. But the thing is, we both have our own modern audience. And if we combine our powers, we'll double our ratings together. And then maybe they'll stick around for all the shows. It's a desperation play because they know that, one, Doctor Who's on the verge of getting canceled. We already saw that Discovery got the axe 2 seasons before they wanted it to. We saw that Lower Decks now is getting the axe. And they're doubling down over there with new shows that are basically Discovery only not and Lower Decks only not. I mean, it's really ridiculous. They really think if they just restart it, and it's like the comic industry crap, where, a brand new #1 issue of Fantastic Four. It's a collector's item. They really think they can do the restart thing and then dupe people into watching the same thing, just like the comic industry. But if you look at the sales over there, you get a little boost for the #1, and it goes right back spiraling down. So it's never going to work and never do anything. But here's what Russell T Davies says on this level. We would love to bring you a crossover episode, and the way we can make that happen is the fans. I guess I should do it in his voice because it's him. We would love to bring you a crossover episode, and the way we can make that happen is the fans. The fans continue to make crossover art. The guy is a weirdo. I'm sorry. And the stories continue to ask and push to bring these two universes together because we must get together. It must happen. And then Alex Kurtzman comes back.
We share values. We share perspectives of the world. We want to tell stories that are illuminating about the human race. Each iteration of the Doctor and each iteration of Trek has endeavored to do that for every generation it serves. It's a beautiful connection.
So you see the deal. We share values. Now, their values is, of course, pushing the satanic LGBTQ agenda as hard as they possibly can, and just signaling towards the globalist Illuminati elites that they're on their side so they can keep their jobs. That's all their quote values are. But this is something that both these men really want. And they are going to continue to push for it. Now this obviously got seeded in the media. because Radio Times is basically a mouthpiece for the BBC and Doctor Who. If you look at any of their articles, they're always saying the ratings are great, the show's fantastic. They're definitely a shill piece. But, I don't know that there's enough out there to really do much. Now, these men have carte blanche to do whatever they want with their respective properties. Paramount is in dire straits. They need the money. So, and Disney, of course, has invested in the BBC and Doctor Who, so they have the money. So, getting a license, I think, is something that they could probably actually accomplish. And it's going to be a train wreck, though, because there's no way either of these men will make something good that serves either franchise. Might as well read the old comics, if you can find a copy. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out my Hidden Emperor Kickstarter for some good science fiction. This is classic stuff, guys. You'll love it. Thank you so much for the support so far. We'll be back soon.